DeAndre Gardner.
No, that's not
Andre.
I'm DeAndre.
You're DeAndre.
Yes.
I was about to say he changed his name from.
Hi there, it's Wynonna Redmond. It's time to win because it's time for Community Chatter, brought to you by Win-Win Communications.
It is Tuesday, y'all. It is Win-Win Communication Day, and we always have the best guests. Why? Because Wynonna surrounds herself with the best people, not just in Chicago, but in the world. So today is nothing short of another best guest, and he's filling in for Miss Wynonna today, and that is Andre Garner. He's a hotel developer and operator, and joining him is DeAndre Day, and he is the founder of Jelani Day Foundation. Want to give a big brunch bunch welcome to both of these fantastic entrepreneurs. You guys, thank you so much. Thank you for coming back to the brunch bunch.
Yes, I'm happy to be here, and it's good to fill in for Wynonna today.
And you've got one of those radio voices. We love that.
Well, it's a voice we're happy to have. But thank you for having us, though.
You're very welcome. And you know what? This is the spotlight where we have unsung heroes that are doing good in the neighborhood, that maybe people don't understand what they've done, but they reap what they've done. So we definitely want to shine a spotlight. So take it away.
So we have with us today a young man who I've known for a little while. He's from Central Illinois, but he's here about a very important event that's going on in the Chicago area this weekend. His name is DeAndre Day, and he's from the Day family. And some of us will recall, I think it was 5 years ago today, that we came to know the Day family through an unfortunate incident. We've heard about Jelani Day, who was a student from Alabama A&M University, who happened to be one of my fraternity brothers, also one of DeAndre's fraternity brothers.
My favorite fraternity in the world, Omega Psi Phi.
That's right. But DeAndre, who had finished his studies down at Alabama A&M, was back home here in Central Illinois, pursuing a master's degree at Illinois State University. And I want to turn actually to DeAndre to finish a little bit about the story. Tell us a little bit about what he was doing academically and what he was pursuing in life.
Thank you for that. Again, Jelani went to the illustrious Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama, where he graduated with a bachelor's degree in speech pathology, and he was attending Illinois State University, pursuing to become a doctor in the same field to help others with the speech impediment.
And he was in his first semester, if I recall, right?
That's correct, yes.
So he just started pursuing that master's degree just down the road from where you guys live.
Yes.
So tell us about growing up with Jelani as a brother, a friend, a playmate, if you might.
Yeah. So Jelani is the fourth child, but the youngest boy of three of us. Jelani was funny, charismatic, athletic. He was very loud, but the life of the party. You knew his presence once he entered the room. Jelani was caring. He was thoughtful. And today we are just honoring him because of what happened to him 5 years. It still resonates with me and my family to pursue justice.
And I think it's very important that we actually personify the young men and women who actually go missing in this country. A lot of time we just sort of see them as statistics or numbers or a story on the news. It's important to know the persons that they are and that they have been to all of us. Let's talk about what happened 5 years ago, this month actually, and how it impacted you and your family. Do you mind sharing that with us?
No. So 5 years ago, Jelani went missing in August of 2021, where we found out while he was attending Illinois State, he went missing. That was the most devastating news that we have ever gotten, me and my family, during that time. And throughout the 5 years, we've been constantly fighting and pursuing justice and advocacy for Black and brown families around the nation, because families deserve answers. The families deserve transparency and thorough investigation. So that's why we started the foundation in his name, to continue that fight, not only for justice for Jelani, but also other families around the globe.
Yeah. So Jelani was he leaving or coming from the university? Was he en route home? Or tell us a little bit more about the circumstances surrounding his actual disappearance.
So the circumstances, Jelani was at school. Like it was only a week that he'd been there because he was starting over the summer, but he was technically online during his classes, doing his research. Then after the summer session ended, he moved out there to Bloomington, Illinois. So he was only there for a week, only attended in-person classes for that duration, that time. So Jelani was really communicating with his family about where he was going, what he was doing. So when we did not hear from him, it was kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
So when the police came to my doorstep and asking about my brother, I was like, he should be at school.
Mm-hmm.
They said he was reported missing. So that's when I got into contact with my mother, and she got in contact with my other siblings, and we just went out there and searched for him.
How long was the gap between the time that you spoke with him and the time that the police came and asked you, had you been in contact with him?
I spoke to him a day prior to that. So I spoke to him that Monday. He went missing. He was reported missing Wednesday.
Mm.
So it was only that day gap that I didn't hear from Jelani.
Go ahead.
And so why did they think that he was missing as opposed to just doing something on campus that young people do?
So that was a question that we all posed as well because we didn't get an answer for that. Jelani, it was told to us that he got his faculty advisor reported him missing because he missed one day of class. A college student is not a norm that college students don't miss class. They may have something come up, they overslept, etc. So when she reported that, it was a blessing in disguise because we did not know or were aware that Jelani was missing, but it was kind of daunting to us that why did she make that move without even confirming or talking to anyone else about that. So it was just odd for us to find that information.
And did the oddities continue?
Yes, we still have unanswered questions about that day and still trying to figure out what happened to Jelani.
So I believe it was, I think your mom told me it was late August, maybe around August 25th or so, that he was reported missing. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then it was early September, maybe around the 4th, when Jelani's remains were actually discovered. Is that right?
That is correct.
And tell us what was found or what was reported by the authorities in the Central Illinois community where his body was discovered.
So it was told where the autopsy said that his body was discovered in a pond of water, that his lungs were his face was so deteriorated, you couldn't really tell that he can only be identified through dental records. So that's how we could identify that was Jelani.
Why was he beaten, or was the water deteriorating him?
According to the autopsy from the coroner, he said because he was in that body of water for a long period of time, that he was unrecognizable.
Wow, so sad. When you were talking about it, it reminds me, and when I heard about it, it reminded me of Emmett Till.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And why is it that you think, this is just an opinion piece, but why is it that you think that we have to form advocacy groups like this in order to find our Black and brown missing loved ones when our counterparts don't have to do that?
That's a great question. It's the disparity that we have in this country when Black and brown and those families are looking for their missing loved ones. No one should have to, I shouldn't even have to advocate that why Jelani's life is so important and why we have to advocate why he went missing. I shouldn't have to do that, but it shouldn't be a constant fight. But we are constantly fighting today, still trying to seek answers in advocacy and transparency for a thorough investigation to find answers to what happened to Jelani.
You know, a lot of people do not understand or have the knowledge base that it is the duty of the state that you are in, and I don't know if this is consistent with all states, but in the state of Illinois, it is their duty to keep you safe. If in fact you are not safe and they find you and you are no longer alive, that there is a compensation package that goes along with that. And people that look like us don't know about that a lot. So it is our job here at the Brunch Bunch to spread those resources. I don't know, did your family know about that?
No, not initially, no.
So when you found out about it, what did you do?
So we found out information, but we were so focused on still trying to figure out what happened we didn't even worry about that piece.
And you know what? That brings us back to why do we have to formulate these focus groups when that is not your job? You're not an investigator. You're not a forensics expert. You should be focused on things like what we just mentioned, and you should have that time to do so. So I just say that all of that to applaud you and your family for really taking the reins, but also understanding that there's a lot more to formulating that piece than just finding your person who actually made your loved one disappear.
Absolutely. And I'll also mention that it's hard not to notice the similarities between this case and several others that have occurred both before Jelani. Tamara mentioned the infamous case of Emmett Till that occurred in 1955 in Mississippi. But we've had some more recent cases, including the case that's in the news with Nolan Wells and Trey Reed that was also in Mississippi, and several others. I was reading the bio for our fraternity brother and the guest speaker who will be at this coming weekend's gala out in Broadview, Illinois. There are more cases than I can even recall off the top of my head of missing people, both young and old, but in particular our young college students. The fact that this has become a phenomenon is kind of stunning for the year 2026. Tell us about the formulation or the thought process behind formulating this type of a foundation and the types of services and support that the foundation intends to provide or is providing in support of families that are going through this type of thing.
Yeah, thank you. So initially, when we started this foundation, we thought of Jelani in mind. We thought of we didn't want any family to endure what we had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned before, we shouldn't have to fight to make it aware that Jelani's life or anybody's life is matters and they're important. That they deserve advocacy where it comes to thorough investigation when their loved one is missing. So Jelani Day Foundation started that so they won't have to do that anymore,
Right.
or have that feeling, because we know how that feels personally because we went through it.
Sure.
And then we also have initiatives to make sure that Jelani's legacy is never forgotten. That's what the foundation is for, to remembrance of Jelani and what he stood for. So that's why we had the Central Illinois HBCU Fair that we started in Central Illinois to bring together HBCUs, because Jelani was a product of HBCU. And we wanted to make sure that students have the capacity where HBCU representatives come down and speak to them, because they don't have the proper resources. So we do that community engagement along with the foundation and having a scholarship in its name to deter any debt from any students so they won't have to live through that.
Very good.
So DeAndre,
Mhm.
your mom, who has been a huge advocate in formulating the foundation, but I understand that the case is still open, right?
Yes.
And so I definitely want to applaud your courage for coming in here talking about something so sensitive to your family and to you as another brother to your brother. But I also want to highlight the fact that you didn't stop there with the foundation, that you and your family have actually led to the passage of a Senate Bill 3932. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So with that bill that was in Jelani's name, that informs every coroner or forensic specialist if they don't have in 72 hours done identify that body, then FBI is mandated to get involved. We didn't have that courtesy. So we are grateful with the help of my fraternity brother, Representative Cam Buckner, who helped officiate that. So we have nothing but the respect to do what he did for us, but also to let families know that we don't want any family going through that. And what better way to have a bill in Jelani's name for that?
Right on.
Shout out to Cam Buckner. He's
Shout
such
out
an
to Cam.
amazing
Yes.
elected official. And so what you're going through, I understand that the case is still open. So we still have not identified who is responsible for this heinous crime.
That's correct.
That's right.
Have they ruled out anything like foul play? Have they determined that it was foul play? And have they ruled out anything? Do they have any leads?
No, at this time, like you said, the investigation is still open, but it's not being properly looked through at this time. So we are asking and we're wanting for another thorough investigation to find out what happened to Jelani and those who are responsible to be brought to justice.
So I understand The famous Ben Crump has gotten involved.
Yes.
And tell us what his involvement is and what you have coming up.
So, Mr. Ben Crump, he has been a part of the foundation, supporting us in our mission since the beginning of our start with trying to find answers for Jelani. So it was just more than right to have him come in and be our keynote speaker because he is familiar with Black and brown families who are trying to seek answers or trying to get that media attention for everybody else to care about your loved one that went missing. So it was just appropriate to have him there. That is Saturday, August 22nd, our Jelani Day 4th annual fundraising gala. And it's more than fundraising. It's a remembrance, awareness, and advocacy for justice for Jelani, but also for other families that we help and serve.
And where can people get tickets? Because this is something that has impacted and continues to mount in numbers of how many families have been impacted by these same kinds of stories. How can people get tickets?
People can get tickets by going to the Jelani Day Foundation page or even go to Eventbrite and typing in Jelani Day Foundation where they can purchase tickets from there.
This is amazing. Well, you know what? I know that who helps me and who helps every believer that listens to our voice every day is the Lord, and that is where our help comes from. And you will win, y'all. It's you will win. Jalen Carr, and we are so honored to have you here spreading this information of how people can get justice for their families. Let's do it, y'all. Don't go nowhere. We got way more to share right here on Inspiration 1390. That's got to be hard. I know you've talked about this so many places, but that's got to be hard. Let's play 4 minutes. So let's play 1 minute. I need 1 minute in the end of our maybe not 1 minute, maybe a little less as we close.
So where this is taking
Yes. And I'm sorry, correct me. I misspoke. It's Karen, she was a clinical director that reported on this. I didn't mention that. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. We can correct it. I think that the most important thing, though, is that someone outside of his friend base and outside of his family base was the one who actually reported him missing. I said I think it's important to know that what the important part was it was somebody that reported him missing outside of the friend and family base, and that was alarming to me because how do you know? Like usually it's 3 or 4 days before someone that age that's in college doing their thing someone would even know unless it's a family member that have like clockwork off to them at a certain time or a certain time range, right?
Okay, so we're gonna go back.
Okay. 5, 4, 3. You're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390, and we are continuing to talk with Andre Garner and DeAndre Day about the Jelani Day Foundation upcoming foundation gala.
Yes.
So I think you talked about how significant the venue is. Let's talk about why this venue is so significant.
So just like the family and the Jelani Day Foundation received support from Cam Buckner, Pi Psi Chapter's very own Cam Buckner from the University of Illinois, we also received some support from another Divine Nine sister, where the event is being held. Is that right?
That's correct.
And that's the Red Door facility, and that's the facility that's supported by and owned by our very own Senator Kimberly Lightfoot.
Yes.
Out in Broadview, Illinois.
You know what is so significant is that when elected officials band together for the common good, that's going to really impact the broader and greater community. So shout out to both of those elected officials. And I truly do appreciate the fact that you and your family are blazing a trail for other families who are impacted. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me.
So the Red Door meeting place, y'all, that is 1519 Roosevelt Road in Broadview, Illinois. Get your tickets. You can go on Eventbrite, and you can also go on
the JelaniDayFoundation.org.
The JelaniDayFoundation.org. We truly appreciate both of you guys. Want to give you one more applause for all of the good that you're doing in the community, and we want to thank you. Y'all, come back. Let us know when new developments happen, when we actually catch someone. so that we can break it right here on the Brunch Bunch. Y'all, this entire show was dedicated to my mom. I want to thank each and every one of you for praying and calling and sending messages of encouragement. She actually made her transition yesterday at 12:59 p.m. and she did it her way. So I definitely want to thank you guys. And Jackie, enjoy your journey. May you rest in power. Y'all, we always want to encourage you to keep Love 24 alive. Tell someone that you don't know, a perfect stranger, that you love them, and show someone that you do know how much you love them. Lead with love, land on love. I love you, Brunch Bunch.
Love you, Tammy.
Believers, we love you. Baby Eminem, we love you too. And y'all, if you see Marcel on Instagram, don't look at him, okay? He is having the time of his life and he deserves it. Y'all, stay optimistic.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry.
I am too, but I knew that you definitely, I thank you so much, but I knew you needed your